Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive Pop and Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast. Oh, no. Oh, messed it up already. Welcome to the Alliance Blog Podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance, United Wrestling Network, Southern California, and you know what? Wrestling in general, man. Let's put some respect on J. Cal's name. We're doing the damn thing. We're talking wrestling, and I'm talking to my pal, Andrew Pesina.
J. Cal's name. We're doing the damn thing. We're talking wrestling, and I'm
Do you
talking
have
to
the
my
window
pal,
opened up on your end?
Andrew Pesina. J. Cal's name. We're doing the damn thing. We're talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had another window. I had the YouTube link in the background. My bad.
no, it's like,
Did you hear that?
I can hear myself, so it's good.
Oh,
Don't worry
shit.
about it.
You probably heard me then. Cool.
No, I didn't hear anything.
No, you heard my browser.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't hear anything until you came up.
Okay.
And we heard the background. But that's good, man. It's all
Cool.
good. This is, like I said, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, where not only are we friends with Epic Pro, but we've helped sponsor a couple events because you know what? We believe in what Andrew's doing out here in SoCal. And Epic Pro's really been, putting together some solid events and over the last 3 years. And correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, my friend, my pal, my confidant. This is event number 10 for you guys, Squable Up, right?
Fuck. So, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I wish it could have been number 27, 28, 29, 30, but
Well,
things
you gotta
happen.
live with what happens. I mean, so according to Cage Match, and correct me if I'm wrong because they're not always accurate.
They're
Your
accurate.
Your first event was Epic going down swinging.
August 13th, 2022. Yeah.
No one left to blame in November of 22.
That show has a story behind it.
We'll have to touch base on that one. Sicker Than Your Average on February 25th of 23.
That was another fun story.
I was at that one. What happened to that one?
Kid Bandit got a woman to yell at me indirectly because of how violent her match was.
Oh yeah, you know what? You told us that story on the
Did
last.
I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Karen. So go back and watch my last interview with Jay, and I'll tell you. You'll hear about the Karen who got mad about a match being too violent involving Kid Bandit, and even though it was Kid Bandit who booked the match, unbeknownst to me. So that's a little control I have over my own promotion.
I'm not a big hardcore wrestling fan, hardcore match fan, and I think you know that about me. And that was a lot. Like, it was a lot to watch. And Juicy Fanu was such a big dude, and
there was a knife in that match.
Kid Bandit is not that big.
Yeah.
Kid Bandit is average size.
She stapled Juicy's nuts too in that match. It was wild.
I think I walked away from that. I don't remember that.
Oh, God, I was on commentary, and the reaction I had was genuine. Like, because it's like anything that depicts like pain to the male anatomy, or to the testicular area, not to get too gendered. It doesn't matter, trans, male, whatever. That shit's gonna fucking hurt, and I'm sure people with vaginas, when they get hit there too, it hurts. But me having a set of testicles, I can empathize a lot easier with someone with a pair of testicles getting hurt because I know the pain, and I mean, I don't know what it's like to get stapled in nutsack, but I can't imagine it's fun.
If you're tuning in for the first time, maybe this should be the rated R podcast here, but anyway,
we should have started later.
Yeah, well, look, it's good. It's 10 o'clock on the East Coast.
No one on the East Coast is watching this.
Audio listeners,
if you're on the East Coast, please comment to prove me wrong.
Well, I know my buddy Jeremy's in the chat, and he is from Colorado.
Class today.
Did you know Pearl Jam's one of my favorite bands?
Yes, I did. That's why I sang that.
You're like,
I always sing Jeremy spoken class today whenever the name comes up.
Do you remember when Rev Pro was still running?
Which year?
This was like early. This was probably like 02.
Okay, so that was right around the time I started coming in.
So there was I think it was Travis. You remember Travis?
Travis Gray, the ring announcer.
He was in line for a different show altogether, and they were talking about one of the Rev Pro events, and they were trying to come up with a name for it. And now I can't even remember. The story is so stupid because it pissed me off. I was like, I don't like this fucking guy anymore because he talks shit.
Jay, you're
I'm like,
freezing on me again, so I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry.
that's horrible. I hope it's not
Let me
freezing
see
for
if
anybody
you're
else.
clear on the YouTube stream. Are you back? Oh, you're back.
See, I think it might be you cutting out. I don't know. Hey, Jeremy, you're in the chat. Am I cutting out or am I good?
Let me check on my TV, on my TV, my YouTube. Anyway,
long story short, fuck that guy. No, I'm just kidding. He's a good guy, but I didn't like him for that. There was something about one of the. I did cut out for a second. Okay, great. I guess there was a show coming up for Rev Pro, and I was like, oh, they should use this Pearl Jam song. And he kind of looked at me, he's like, that sucks. No way. And I was like, fuck you, man. And you know,
like Travis.
And your boy Jay is a little bit introverted, right? So like it takes a lot for me to talk to people I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck
I'm the
that
same
guy.
way, but when I get talking, you want me to stop immediately because I talk a lot of shit.
My wife said, who are you talking to tonight? And I go, Andrew. And she
Oh.
goes, the little guy, right? And I go, what little guy? Because I guess the story of me telling her when you used to go to AWS when you were younger.
Oh yeah.
She still thinks of you as a little guy. And I'm like, that's funny you say that because
I'm like the same height as you.
Well, I think it's more the age. Like, how old are you? You're like,
I'm 37 now.
Okay, so you're about the same age as my wife. And she goes, I thought he was like 17.
The
I was
fuck?
like, no, he's a grown-ass man.
Been 17 for 20 years, mentally at least.
Well, hey, I mean, that works too. But anyways, I was kind of impressed that she goes, he's the guy that's really opinionated, that talks a lot of shit, right? And I go,
lots of shit.
That's the one. You got it.
Oh, man. People.
All right. That's enough with the pleasantries. Let's get down to business. Let's talk some Epic Pro because obviously there's the big event coming up on June 28th in Cudahy at the Bill Greene Sports Complex, a venue that I've been to now twice. It's a really cool venue, I think, for wrestling. First of all, how the hell did you find this place?
So this has been a place that's been around SoCal wrestling, I believe, since the 90s. I didn't even know it was it lasted that long. I knew about it first when this company called Full Contact Wrestling started running there. Full Contact Wrestling was ran by this guy. He was owned by this guy named Raul Altamirano, I believe his name was, and his son was a wrestler named Cyanide. And he teamed up with Joey Chaos and Mongol Santino and Supreme to book shows at the Olympic Auditorium.
Wait. Before you go any further, was this the real estate investor guy?
I was going to get to that.
Sorry, go ahead. Get to it.
Damn, you ruined the fucking...
No, there's a lot more to be said.
I was going to get to that. So the dad was a money mark, basically. He had a lot of money because he had this company called Wings Realty Inc. And every FCW show was presented by Wings Realty Inc. And they were booking the Olympic Auditorium, which before it became a Korean church, for people who don't know, it was like historic wrestling and boxing venue from like the 1920s and 30s all the way up until 2005. So the last 4 professional wrestling shows that took place were FCW shows at the in that venue, promoted by FCW, I should say. I'm sorry. And the first show, it drew like 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 people. And the next few shows sold out that place, and it held like 7,000 people. And this is unheard of back in the day. Like, this is 2005 when it was just WWE. TNA was not a blip in the radar. Ring of Honor was just barely expanding into Chicago and the Midwest at the time. So this was like huge, and it didn't really get picked up on by a lot of people. And they had like big stars from Mexico, like El Hijo de Santo. And they were like promoting the fuck out of this shit. They were putting ads in like Spanish newspapers and running ads on Spanish language TV. And they ended up like drawing huge crowds, you know. people doubted it, and I was one of them too, because the tickets weren't selling at first, but then the walk-ups were, they fucking drew huge, bro. And to say this was like a huge production would be, I guess it would be calling it selling it short. For an independent promotion, they had like a lighting truss with like fucking a lighting rig that just fucking had all sorts of fucking specialty lights that were set up for like entrances and music and shit. They had all sorts of fancy production, like bro, like legit TV level production and shit. They were spending so much money. They were printing up T-shirts, giving them out for free to people and shit. And Raul Altamirano, the owner, he would sit front row at shows and he would just throw money in the air to people and shit. Like this dude was spending, he was not afraid to spend money.
Yeah.
And you're blacking out, but I'm just gonna keep plowing through it. So he's throwing money up in the air. Oh, you're back. He's throwing money up in the air during shows, blah blah blah. Olympic shuts down. They run at the Forum in Inglewood. They run at the LA Sports Arena, and eventually they start running smaller shows, right? Because there's nowhere else to go, and they weren't able to bring in big names even more. But then by like 2008, 2009, that's when the whole financial crisis happened. And I guess Raul got busted for like selling fake mortgages to people or bad mortgages and, like just basically preying on them and shit. And shit that people couldn't pay back, so that he would eventually foreclose on their houses and would take their shit. So he ended up getting caught for that, went to trial, went to fucking prison because he got convicted. So and that was the end of full contact wrestling. But
yeah. I too did not go to one of their events, mostly because I didn't trust it. And I always kind of kicked myself for that, because I was like, that would have been a good time. I would have had fun at those events.
I went to the first one, and that was the first time the Young Bucks teamed together as the Young Bucks, because they had been teaming before, right? Either it's like Slick Nick and Mr. Instant Replay, and they would just be doing spot shows, or they would be Gallineros, which was like a chicken gimmick here in SoCal at Rev Pro. But like, I remember the story like being like Chaos and Mongol booked the match against them because they were impressed by them and they didn't know what to call them as a tag team. So they were like, well, let's go with them Young Bucks. So yeah, I was there. I also filmed one of their first matches at a show. So
was that the High Risk Wrestling?
No, it was C4. It was C4, Rev Pro, and Rev X. They did like, because Rev Pro had these sub brands called like Rev X and C4. C4 was a comedy company. Matt Jackson was like a dog. He was like Fluffy the dog, and Nick Jackson was like a referee in a Santo mask, and like they were doing sky twisters and shit during that match. And I don't think anyone else filmed it except for me. I was filming it for someone else, and like, I filmed that match, and then I saw footage of it recently, and I was like, "Oh shit, I filmed that match." So
I think I was there. At least at one of them.
Frankenstein's.
Yeah, and I think I'm trying to forget.
They were on the last Rev Pro show as well. They were in the opener. It was them against BJ Sampson and Diablo, aka Dustin Cutler, the older brother of Brandon Cutler.
By the way, did you see that? I'm doing terrible with names today. Muscle Gang in Japan. What was he called out here? San Diego.
Outlaws.
No, from San Diego.
Baby Slim.
Baby Slim came back. He's working.
Yeah, I heard
now.
He looks so fucking skinny now, dude. Like,
he looks. First of all, he looks great. That dude's been putting in some work.
I mean, before, like, I'm not saying he looked like shit before. I'm just saying, like, he was like really big and jacked up, and now he's like looks way more lean. It's like, damn, that's kind of weird because I was so conditioned to seeing him a certain way. It would have been like, imagine if Vader ended up being the same size as Will Ospreay, kind of like not exactly the same, but like same, like in terms of like go from here to there. It's like,
I know you're not a WWE guy, but it's, to me, it's kind of like Walter becoming,
how he transformed and shit.
Gunther, yeah, I mean, because he looks like a different guy. Almost like the face is the same, but like Walter was big.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like some clips of his matches where he's all like lean and shit. It's like, hey, good for him. He's healthy, but like, I mean, I've also never thought he was that great, but like he's had great matches, but I never thought of him as like, oh, this is a dude I really got to keep my eye on, like.
So that's a good question. That's a good
mm,
place to start asking questions. Who's somebody that you've saw right away and you're like, that dude's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it in spades. That's a guy I'm gonna keep my eyes on.
I always thought Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins, was going to be somebody. For
Okay.
some reason, I don't know why. Everyone will always say, man, he's got no charisma, blah, blah, blah. But I saw something in him that made me think he is going to be one of those dudes. More recently, I think Johnny Robbie, when I first, here's a little behind the scenes thing. Like when I was working for a company out here called Millennium Pro Wrestling, I was going to start doing commentary, which was about 4 years ago when the pandemic was starting to like ease up and lockdown restrictions were, starting to become a little more loose. And, Johnny at that point had been training for like 2-3 years. She's going to train a debut a year before, but then the pandemic hit. So she ended up getting an extra year of preparation. And I remember we like wanted to do some live commentary for the shows. And they do it now, but at the time we didn't know how to do it, and we were going to figure out how. So we had like a test recording with the practice match, Diego Valens versus Johnny Robbie, and it was like me and Brendan Devine doing commentary. And she had this match, and I'd seen her at training sessions before. Then I saw her match before she debuted, and I was like, God damn, dude, she's gonna be so fucking good. And I kept telling her, you're gonna be fucking good someday. Just don't stop and all that. And Zara Zacher is another person who I think has so much potential. Like I just don't think like I think maybe the WWE ID thing is probably not the best for her, in my personal opinion. I think like, or anyone in that program, I don't think that program is going to benefit those talents, but I think she's so fucking good. And I think eventually like she'll go beyond just being some fucking, WWE ID, prospect. I think like she shouldn't be in a fucking like prospect program. She should be in a place like she should be touring in Japan. She should be going to Mexico regularly. She should be doing that instead of like getting like, I don't know how much she's making. I'll say that, or anyone on an ID program, but I guarantee you they're not going to be making as much as they should be under an agreement with WWE, even if it's just to be a developmental. But she's somebody who in the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years, her and Johnny Robbie are going to be those stars that I think they can be. And I think you're seeing it right now. Brody King, like when I first saw his training videos on Santino Bros' YouTube channel, I was like, this guy's so fucking big and he can move like a fucking cruiserweight and shit. Like he can move like a fucking flyweight, He's fucking good and he's got a presence about him. And lo and behold, he was fucking wrestling Okada at the fucking Staples Center, years later and shit.
That is crazy to think about, and not because he isn't amazing. The first time I saw him wrestle, I was like, "Oh, dude, that guy's so money." But like, just to think of, and I was mentioning this earlier in a different podcast that, Santino Brothers has been around for a couple of years, but they really have turned out so much good talent. And I know,
15.
I don't need to kiss Joey's ass. He knows what he's doing. The Mongol knows what he's doing. Those guys have it locked up, but the talent that just keeps coming out of that school is unreal. And Brody wouldn't have been the only guy. A couple of dudes made some bad decisions, bad choices, and we're not talking about them on a major presence anymore. But Brody King deserves every bit of success he gets, and I'm nothing to him. I'm no one to him. I don't think we ever said 2 words to each other, but I'm so proud of that guy's success. Just it's amazing, and it happened so quick for him. You got somebody out here like Teets who's just killing it. Like I'm so impressed by what Bad Dude Tito does day in, day out, where he's been, where he goes, and
excuse me.
And he still hasn't made it to what I would say like that big money contract yet.
Yeah.
And
He should.
he deserves it for
He
sure.
should be getting fucking paid. He should be making a living off this shit right now. I mean, I'm sure he's making a good amount of money, but he shouldn't be on the indies. I think
Well,
he should be
yeah.
signed.
And I'm sure you could agree to this, like whether it's WWE, AEW, New Japan, whatever. Some of these guys should be under contract somewhere and making that big money, that big
Or
contract.
I wish promotions like mine were in a position where we could be paying these guys a living wage, or where I could be making a living wage off this shit. But
Yeah.
until then, we gotta grind and hustle and all that cliche bullshit.
Speaking of grinding and hustling, again, this is your 10th event coming up on June 28th. And I think, if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pat you on the back because you are the personification of putting your money where your mouth is. We can all think back to the SoCal Uncensored message board. And yes, you are opinionated. Yes, you still are. Yeah, of course. And you always told people what they were doing was wrong and that if you had a chance, you'd do it better. And here you are, and I know it's a small sample size, it's 3 years, but some people have never even ran one wrestling show and they talk like they have. Yeah. You've done it now, 10 events, 3 years. You've got 2 more events planned after this one. And I'm going to give you your flowers, because to me, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I think you should take a little bit of pride in that and knowing that maybe you aren't in a position to offer these guys a full-time living, but you are contributing to the wrestling economy. You are putting dates on people's calendars. You're putting money in people's pockets.
I'm saving. Here's something that a lot of people. Sorry, I got something that just came up right now. Give me one moment.
Yeah, take your time, man.
All right. So. I'm distracted right now. Sorry about that.
Get back to it. You produce wrestling content that helps put money in people's pockets and dates on calendars.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird now because it's a little different because, I guess this is going to be the first time I'm going to talk about it publicly on a platform like this, but I wasn't supposed to be the owner still up to this point because as most people know, there was an agreement in place with Pandemonium Pro Wrestling and their owner, Asan Washington, to purchase Epic Pro, and then we were going to create this. He was going to create this, another corporate entity called Worldwide Wrestling to operate Epic Pro and Pandemonium, separate brands, and I was going to be in charge of Epic Pro. And we had an agreement, we signed it, and the next 3 shows that we got coming up, he signed off on it. He was going to take responsibility for it financially. But then certain business matters happened, and now the financial burden is back on me, and dealing with some family stuff right now. And the money I was going to make from that sale was going to go help a really close family member, but I'm still doing these shows now though, and it's I'm working my ass off. I'm working 2 jobs now just because I did not have the money for these shows, and I'm working hard to make sure, if ticket sales don't cover these shows, that I have the money to cover these shows. And let me make it clear, I'm not mad at Asan Washington. I'm not going to be saying, oh, it's his fault. He should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. That dude did a lot for Epic Pro. He helped out in so many ways. I credit him for me being able to afford the Grizzled Young Vets last year. He helped pay for their flights, paid for their booking fee, paid for their hotels, and a whole bunch of other shit. He paid for flights for other people. He helped with pay for other wrestlers before. He bought my belt, the belt I have that you have in the graphic. I owe him so much. I have a huge debt of gratitude I owe towards Asan. But now it's okay, I got to carry this thing now, because if I cancel the shows, after retaining ownership, it's oh, this dude, he's canceling on us. Can we trust him? Blah, blah, blah. It's not just fan perspective. It's also potential business partners and stuff. You know, I wanted to make sure Epic Pro still, you know, was alive because of that, and I kept these shows going for that. This biggest reason, though, is like what you were talking about. Is I want to make sure fucking people get paid. I want to make sure they have a fucking show to work because, you know, and talking to some of these guys after all this has happened and telling them what's up, and like, yeah, man, you know, the only other show I can think of is really a shitty show that I don't want to work, or a show that won't book me because I cost money, just student shows or shitty lucha
Yeah.
shows or whatever. And you know, those a lot of guys I book, they don't get booked in a lot of places, no matter because they're like, yeah, they're good, but promoters out here don't want to pay these guys because they cost more than fucking 40, $50 to fucking book. And now, and like, it's like I really feel like there's a need for promoters like me to be fucking going out there and putting on shows with these kind of talents, and I can't let them down because they're not going to be able to find makeup bookings. You know, Bloss and Xavier, my ring guys, they aren't gonna fucking, you know, they're gonna lose out on money if I cancel a booking on them. So it's like I can't cancel that shit. So I don't know, maybe like I think the closest, like, I mean, I don't want to compare myself to Jesus in the sense that I'm sacrificing myself for everyone else and getting nothing out of it.
Bro.
But that's the closest story I can think of. I don't, but it's like I'm giving so much of myself and I'm not asking for anything. I just want to make sure good talent have good shows to work with so they can have great matches and so people can watch. So,
can I tell you what that is?
Hmm.
It's being a good dad. I do that every day. You have everything you have, and then you give it to your kids. You give it to, you know, you take everything that you've worked hard for, and it's like, oh, I just
but you got kids who are going to take care of you when you're old.
That's true.
No one's going to take care of me. I mean, I'm probably not going to be alive when I'm 40, but I mean, but still,
bro.
Well, no, come on. With the way the world's going, I'm not going to be sad if I end up, you know, having a heart attack in my sleep. I'll be happy. I've already lived my life. I've achieved everything I've wanted to achieve.
I'm just saying,
I haven't been a millionaire.
Stay away from downtown LA for the next couple of days.
Oh, dude, I had to go very yesterday. It's not that bad.
You know, like, look, I live out here in the IE. I'm so far from it. You know, I'm experiencing it like most of the country. I'm watching on the news.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it's so wild. And not that I wanted to bring politics into this or anything, but just anyone who's near there, please stay safe. We don't need anyone getting hurt from all this. It's stupid.
On the surface, yes, it looks bad, but like it's when like somebody posted on Reddit, and a friend of mine sent me a screenshot of like the scale of, you know, the protests and all the stuff that's going on in LA versus how big LA County is, and it's just like a small one city block. That's really affected. But the thing that is pretty shitty is like, you know, the Marines and National Guard and all that. But I don't know. I just think this is all a really stupid situation. And I think it's like, excuse me, sorry. I think it's just like an excuse from one side of the political spectrum to engage in violence against targets they've been wanting to carry out violence against, but have no way of doing so. And they're using the powers they have to do that. So that's all it is. And I don't think it's working. I think it's going to end up backfiring politically on, you know, the people in power. I don't think it's the way they're operating is a good way to do things. You know,
it's absolutely galvanizing the other side. So it's absolutely backfiring. But this wrestling is supposed to be fun. It's an escapism for a lot of people. So let's get back to the fun stuff. And I'm sorry that you're being a dad to SoCal right now. At least you didn't.
Someone's gotta.
Well, you didn't go get milk, so you're still here.
And I have yet to go get my cigarettes, so
it's just a matter of time. But all right, so let's talk. You know, the other thing I want to talk about was Triller.
Yes.
Now, as a fan of pro wrestling, Triller has obviously been contributing to the wrestling economy. We talk about that because it's important. Right? No one's wrestling for free. No one should be wrestling for free. Not in 2025. Not when you can make money, you know, on different platforms. And Triller's been around for a while, but it's been reported that they're having some financial situation where things aren't exactly as easy for them as it was just a few years ago. Mm-hmm. How's your relationship with Triller? Are you still getting taken care of by them? Are you still happy being on Triller? And are you concerned about the future of Triller?
Relationship is great with Triller. They've been absolutely fantastic with me. I just wish I could produce some more content for them. When it comes to getting paid, I've gotten my money whenever I've wanted, needed it. And, as far as all these reports are going, it's like the big thing a lot of people don't realize is Triller is the parent company of Triller TV.
Yeah.
So it's like not the same complete business. Um, I know I heard one promoter talking about like, oh, he never got paid and all that. But I've also heard he's like a crackhead or something from different people who've worked with him out here.
Is that someone out here?
Huh?
Someone out here?
He's been out here. He's on the East Coast.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know the dude. I just hear things secondhand. But like I've seen that dude like comment about not getting paid. But it's like every time I've needed my pay, I've gotten it. And I have a friend who works for Triller TV, not Triller. Again, Triller TV and Triller are two different corporate entities, but it's just that Triller owns Triller TV or is a parent company. But my friend who works for Triller TV, I actually talked about this with him last month. And he said he's been fine. Everything's been chill. But even if something does happen, it's like I'm gonna like find my way to get paid. I'm not gonna be like sitting around waiting on anything. So if something was negative going on, I wouldn't be sitting here saying go watch Epic Pro Wrestling on Triller TV Plus. So I don't know if my comments will gain traction with anybody or pick up steam or get picked up by the wrestling news people who report this shit. But that's what I've experienced, and that's something straight from somebody who works with Triller TV Plus and is not a bitter fucking jackass who almost fucking blew a fucking venue for people here in SoCal with some dumb shenanigans they pulled a few years ago. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Are we gonna talk about that offline, I guess?
I mean, it's been well known. VXS owner Isaac Rodriguez, he was the one talking that shit on Twitter. I didn't get paid, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what his situation is. I don't fucking care. I worry about my own business, but he booked a show and Rob Shit, right?
Yeah.
So Rob Shit, aka I think Rob McKnight or something, on like the TV friendly shows. There was a spot on a VXS show when VXS was coming to SoCal. And he fucking brought a motorcycle into the American Legion Hall in Baldwin Park. And the American Legion Hall in Baldwin Park is a small, tiny banquet hall, and it has no ventilation in it. Dude was revving up a fucking motorcycle inside the venue. And apparently the fucking people who worked at the venue got pissed. And I was told by some people, like, for a while that I guess the venue owners weren't happy about that and didn't consider wrestling for a while. But Rival Pro's running there, thank God. Shout out Rival Pro, shout out Rob, shout out Adam. Those are two of the one of the handful of promoters out here that I got respect for. But yeah, the East Coast guy came to SoCal, nearly fucking cost the entire Cena venue, and then goes fucking cries about some shit. I don't give a fuck. Fuck him. I'm telling you people from directly from me, And if GCW had problems, they'd probably be bouncing too. If who else is on there? Wrestling Revolver. If they had problems, they'd bounce too.
And I guess my concern is right. Brett Lauderdale is going to get paid, right? Like I'm not saying he's like a mob boss or anything, but he's going to get paid. GCW carries that weight. Mm-hmm. I'm more concerned about the little guys who could get screwed. Now, if you're saying it's good, then I'm in. I'm all for it. I don't have a problem.
And if I didn't get paid, if I got screwed, believe me, I'd fucking just walk away, take my footage, and sell it to somebody else and make my money that way. It's not like there isn't options out there for independent wrestling promoters. It's just motherfuckers are dumb.
Is that? I mean, I guess then that's my next question. Why Triller as opposed to some of the other platforms?
For me?
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, in my opinion, the biggest platform there is for independent wrestling streaming. Okay. Like, no disrespect to IWTV, but like when you got a promotion like GCW on your platform and you have like other like relationships with bigger companies, not just in wrestling, but like boxing, mixed martial arts, bare knuckle boxing and all that, then it sort of makes sense. And I wouldn't mind working with IWTV. In fact, I almost worked with IWTV before Epic Pro was even officially a thing. Back when I was still in the concept phase of this whole thing, I used to be on Title Match Network, and they paid well. As great as Telly and his team were, I just needed a place where I can grow, and I've done that with Triller TV Plus, and we get recognition. And it's like I don't want to diss the other platforms, but it's like if our shows were on there, we'd be lost in the mix. On Triller TV Plus, sure, we might be lost in the mix, but you're more likely to see us and you're more likely to find us. And we have a great relationship with their social media team. Joel, shout out Joel. He's really great, and he helps us out whenever we need it, and he lets us know, hey, you need this, do this, do this. He's very helpful. He's earning his paycheck at Triller TV Plus, and it's like that's part of the reason why, and like people know Triller TV Plus. So I hate to sound like I'm doing a commercial or an infomercial for him, but excuse me, it's like the third time now.
Are you all right, man?
I'm drinking mineral water.
Oh, that mineral water.
I haven't eaten either.
What's that?
So, I haven't eaten all day either, so
that's not good for you.
I mean, I'm probably gonna go to Carl's Jr. and grab me a triple Western bacon cheeseburger.
Dude, go with that sourdough, the sourdough bread. It's pretty dope.
I like the sesame bun, but
all right, hey, to each his own, man.
I'll try it out. Oh, God damn it, the Padres scored.
You watching the Padre Dodger game?
Yeah, I have it on in the background right now. I'm sorry, dude. Because listen, I'm a Dodger fan. It's a NL West rivalry, but I can multitask.
If I had a TV in here that wasn't broadcasting what I'm watching on the computer, I probably would too.
Shit, I should have
not
done
the Dodgers though. I'd be watching the Angels. I'm still a glutton for punishment.
Man, I really want to go to an Angel game because I can't afford Dodger games. I want to go, but for real, I do want to go to an Angel game because it's been so long since I've been to one, and like I at least 2 or 3 decades since I've been to a game. Like
that's crazy.
I think last time I went was when it was still the Edison International Field or whatever.
So that's like pre-World Series then?
Pre or maybe post-World Series around that era, but I gotta go back there.
So this will get me hot water with you, but Petco is a really nice field, man.
I do love Petco Park. And you know what? I hate the Giants, but I what was it called? Pac Bell Park when I went there, and then it became like AT&T Stadium. I don't know what it is now, but yeah, that place was beautiful when I went there. The fans sucked. The fans. I mean, I was 13 years old, and I was having 40-year-old dudes telling me, "Hey, kid, Dodgers suck," and flipping me off, and then they get offended when I tell them, "Hey, we all know you suck." I mean, I was 13. It was 2001. Dodgers, Giants, and all that. I wouldn't say that now because I'm not a kid and all that. I wouldn't have been able to get away with it, but yeah, fuck the Giants.
In the last year, I've been able to go to the ballpark in Arlington. That's not what it's called anymore. Where the Rangers play. I don't even know what Globe Life. That was a really cool stadium. I loved how modern it was.
It looks nice.
And I was at where do the Phillies play?
Veterans Stadium or
not Veterans, but
something ballpark. It's a bank name.
Yeah.
PNC Park. No, not PNC Park. That's Pittsburgh.
No, I think it is PNC Park.
No, I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh is PNC.
You might be right. Anyways, it's a nice field too.
Yes.
As a fan of the Angels, like it's probably out of the 4 parks I just mentioned, it's probably 3rd on my list. It's home, but it's not pretty anymore.
Enron, or when it was Enron Stadium, I think it's Minute Maid Park in Houston now.
Yeah, Minute Maid.
Dude, I went there in 2001, and it was really nice. I really like the setup. I really like the entire just the atmosphere of it. But being from Los Angeles, nothing will ever beat Dodger Stadium for me. Like the layout, the view
Dude,
of the hills in the background.
you haven't been in a while. Do they still have the troughs, or you don't know?
I haven't been. I think the last time was 2019, and I've never used the troughs at that place.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Never.
All right,
Dude, my biggest fear has always been like somebody just fucking jumping in the trough and just getting piss all over people. But yeah,
that's all right, man.
I've seen videos of that, and it's Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia.
Okay, I've been there, and that was fun. I went there last year after an NWA show. It was cool.
These ballparks are just getting more and more beautiful, dude. Like I remember. I don't know if you. Sorry to cut you off, but I don't know if you went to Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego Stadium.
Never went to Qualcomm.
Went there for a Padres game. Went there for a Chargers Broncos Sunday night game in like '98.
Oh, you know what? I did go to Qualcomm for a Chargers game years and years ago.
I actually like those old school stadiums myself. I understand they're kind of hard to fill, but like the way stadiums are built now, it's like, oh my god, they're so beautiful, and the way they have like beautiful skylines in the background. Like, I don't know if it's Busch Stadium still in St. Louis.
Yeah,
but their fucking outfield background backdrop looks beautiful. Like the skyline, and then you see the arc in there and all that shit. It's just nice.
The crazy thing about it is it's so unassuming when you're in the city. I was in Missouri a couple years ago for the NWA anniversary show, and it was just like, oh, the ballpark's like right there. It's like right there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it fits in, but it does.
I was watching. I'm sorry we're talking about baseball stadiums, but I'll say this before we jump off the subject. I was watching a TikTok by this dude from England, right?
Yeah.
And he said he was starting to watch baseball, and he saw like a Dodgers Diamondbacks game, and Ohtani hit like a ball all the way out to center field, and it went for a double. It went off the wall for a double and shit. And then he said he noticed the commentator said, yeah, and 28 other ballparks in the league, that would have been a home run. And he was looking into it about stadium designs and all that. And he noticed how all the stadiums are all designed differently.
Yeah.
And, he pointed out, Fenway Park, where it's right along the street, where the Green Monster is. And he talked about how, like, a lot of these stadiums had to be built within, like, the size of a city block and all that. And they had to be built to fit in with whatever is around them as far as like structurally, so
yeah, and
that's why you see these stadiums like just so intricately built, and like they like fit in with so many fucking places in their respective neighborhoods, except for like Dodger Stadium, which is like in the middle of the mountains out here in LA, or Angel Stadium, which is in like a giant parking lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, look, Chavez Ravine, man, that's a whole different topic for another day. But let's get back into pro wrestling, because I wanted to have you on for an hour, and we spent about 15 minutes talking.
I got all night, bro.
Well, see, I'm an old man. I don't have all night, but we can go a little bit longer if we.
I'll go as long as you can go.
That sounds fair. Ooh.
Pause.
Let's go.
That's what she said.
Yeah, right. So
we're showing our age with these jokes.
I'm embracing it. Like, I'll go on TikTok, and you've seen my dad jokes, and they do all right.
I
but
love them.
When I do my TikTok lives, I start crashing out, and when people call me Kevin Owens,
I don't know who that is.
He used to be known as Kevin Steen on the.
Oh, Kevin Steen. Okay.
And it's crazy because like I call it crashing out because I've got kids, so I know the hip lingo, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna crash out if you call me Kevin Owens. So then I get like 20 kids on the chat just typing Kevin Owens, and what they don't know is that they're totally helping me with engagement, right?
Yeah.
And
you're trolling them. I'm not trolling them, but you're baiting them into like doing what you need.
Baiting them to grow the channel. Yeah, no, it's
trolling.
It's trolling. It's trolling. Okay, so
wrestling.
Let's talk about obviously Squable Up. I gotta ask, where did you come up with this name?
Of course, the Kendrick Lamar song. I also wanted to use that name before the Kendrick song ever was released. Like, I just wanted to use something with the word squabble in it because like Yeah, and like it's been used a lot. It's like, but it's I have never seen it used in like wrestling sense. It's a phrase that's been around a lot. I think like, you know, now with Kendrick making the song and all that and shit, it was just all right, fuck it. And on top of that, I was stoned and thinking of like what to do, and the song came on, so I was like, Squabble Up. And not only that, it also fits a little bit of my mood because there's like so many people I want to squabble up with in the SoCal scene. So it's really more like a name and a message. So because there's a lot of people who try and shit on Epic Pro, even though they're not good enough. Just
Well,
they're just stuck in some. They're just stuck working small shows in some fucking loft in Chatsworth or spot shows and fucking back alleys in fucking downtown LA because they're fucking shitty and no one wants to book them. They've been wrestling like 8-10 years and they still wrestle like rookies. So
all right. Now
they're
the
sticking
infamous
up for guys who are friends with Joey Ryan. So who's the winner here?
and the infamous words of Tracy Morgan, put a name on it.
Kodo Hero.
Oh man, I didn't know Cody.
Hey, he's had his chances lately to say something to me, but motherfuckers are tough on their phones, but not tough in real life.
You remember
Listen,
that?
if you have a problem with me and you see me at a show, listen, I'll say this. I'll have respect for a promoter if I'm cool with them, but we can go somewhere else and we can handle our shit. Either we can talk it out, squash it like men, or we can throw hands. That's the way I am, dude. I'm not a pussy like all you motherfuckers out here.
Well, the thing about it is, I feel like if
Squabble Up, June 28th.
I like, I'm gonna say this in your defense, right? I'm gonna say this in your defense. We haven't always seen eye to eye on everything, and hell, we still don't see eye to eye on everything. But I feel like there's a general level of respect for one, because I listen to you, I hear you. I might not always agree with you, but I give you the opportunity to talk, and I feel like you, at the very least, humor me by listening to what I have to say, and that way I don't think there's animosity. If I don't like something you're doing, I'd probably tell you, like,
Yeah.
look, oh, I don't like this guy. Why are you booking this guy? One guy I do like, and I don't see him on your cards anymore, is Danny Limelight. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but I like Danny Limelight. You don't use Danny Limelight. All right.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I wanted to bring him back at one point, and then we had a private conversation, and I felt like what he said in that conversation about people I was booking. I tried to. I'll just be straight up. I am very like, like I'm talking right now. I forget what I'm gonna say. I forget a lot of things. And there were times where I said, "Hey man, I'll talk to you about bookings for future dates, blah blah blah." And I said, "I'll try and get you here. I'll try and get you there, blah blah blah." And I'll always forget. I honestly forget. And he's not the only wrestler I've forgotten, right?
Sure.
It's not a personal thing. It's a me thing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting upset because he wasn't booked for a show once. And he contacted me and I said, "Look, man, it's nothing personal. I just keep forgetting you. And there's so much fucking talent out here that I want to book. And there's talent who are like, genuinely wanting to work with me and all that."
Yeah.
And I remember I mentioned two names that I had forgotten to book or that I had booked on a show, but I forgot I had them on the show. And they had asked me, "Are we on the show still?" I was like, "Oh shit." And I put him in a match. And then he was like, "LOL, imagine booking those guys over me." And I was like, "Okay, that's not cool." And it's like, bro, if you want to be part of my show, don't be dissing my other talents.
Yeah.
It's like, I wasn't cool with that. And on top of that, it's like politics, because like I'll pull the curtain back. He asked, not to do a job when I booked him because he was the world champion for Marquez's Fed. And honestly, it rubbed me the wrong way, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to, burn a bridge. But, as time went by, that was also a factor. Like after our little thing where it's like, well, I'm glad I don't have to deal with him because I don't want to be doing shit where I have to put over another fucking promotions champion anymore. I just don't want to do that shit. So
and I think that's entirely fair because this isn't.
Sorry to cut you off, but I'll say this: I have no problem with Danny Limelight. I think he's talented, but it's also like it's like I don't think we work well business wise. So hey, more power to him. Let him do his thing. He can go out of SoCal and work his shows. And I will say he was easy to deal with us outside of like asking not to job because of Marquez, and I'm not going to fully blame him for that. I'm not going to say Danny's the asshole in that situation because he asked that. I don't know if it was because Marquez told him, hey, I don't want you jobbing at other shows, and it's also like trying to frame it as like my show being a small show, and it's like I felt like that was a little insulting. So
no, I could relate to that.
Tact really plays into like my decision making when it comes to wrestlers. Like, he's not the only one that's really bothered me, and he's not even in the top 10, top 20 list of people I just can't stand or don't want to work with. But
you and I both have something in common. We're both business owners.
Yes.
And the freedom you have from being a business owner is you get to make the decisions. And I'm not going to run my business in any way that's going to benefit. Whoa, let me rephrase that. My job in a business isn't to make my vendor's job easier. My job is for my vendors to make my job easier. That's why I hire them to come do a job. Similarly, your talent, whoever you bring in, needs to be able to work with you, not the other way around. This is your show, not his show, not anybody else's show. And because your vendor does one thing with another company doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you want done. So I completely understand that. And like I said, I still love Danny Limelight, and I'm bummed that things didn't work out for you guys, but I think that's a mature decision to make instead of ragdogging him out on the internet. It is what it is. So
it's not like he's Dino Winwood who tried to fucking hold me up for more money than he was fucking worth, the show that he was on. But Squable Up, June 28th.
June 28th.
I had to bring it back. I'm sorry.
No,
if I talked about Dino Winwood more, it would just be a 2-hour podcast.
Let's move on because let's move on.
The one thing Marquez and I can agree with is fuck Bob.
Okay, so we have this epic pro event that's coming to the Cudahy.
Bill Greene Sports Complex at Clara Street Park in Cudahy, California.
Cudahy.
I learned the pronunciation recently because I watched this video from the KCal News that did a short profile on them. But anyway, I'm interrupting with my bullshit. Sorry.
Look, I'm trying to.
But we got great chemistry.
I'm trying to put over your event, brother. So let's talk about it. We've got the singles match with Adrian Quest, who I think absolutely the world of. I feel like that guy is so underrated. He steps in the ring with Slice Boogie.
First time matchup. Oh man. And I talked to both guys about that. Fucking breaking kayfabe. They're both excited about it. Quest is really excited to do something different with this match. I'm not going to reveal too much, but
sure, don't reveal anything. I want to be surprised.
I already said everything that I know, but
all right.
I just wanted to make it seem like I knew more than I do. But I think those two guys are gonna fucking kill it. They both cut really cool promos on each other. Are available on our social media pages at Epic Pro LA, also our YouTube channel, also our TikTok at Epic Pro Wrestling, where I watch Jay's dad's jokes. So
we like Slice Boogie.
Why isn't he in Championship Wrestling anymore?
Oh well, I'm sure there's reasons. Did you know he was in NWA for a short time?
Yes, and
that was
MLW.
It was the craziest thing to see him in the NWA because it's like him and Jordan Clearwater came in right about the same time. And you're like, you dudes are from SoCal. What are you doing all the way in Atlanta? That doesn't make any sense.
Slice, we talked about dudes who should be under contract, and Slice is one of those guys who should be in like AEW or some shit. Like he can go, he can talk, he can do business. I like that guy a lot. I like working with him. Very easy to deal with. You just say, hey, you available? You're like, yeah, okay, this is what I need, blah, blah, blah. Cool. No other things to say other than, hey, are you going to be at this show so we can go to promo? You're like, yeah, let's do it.
Well, like you said with Zara, I think he's a guy that should be trying to get out everywhere. Because, look, the potential's there. Like, he has a great look. His promos are pretty solid. He makes you believe in what he's saying. But he isn't getting booked in the places that he should get booked. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sorry, go ahead.
I just feel like he could be a bigger deal. And I know he's done some stuff with I don't think it's the Crash, but he's done some shows in TJ. I think
Crash.
It might be the Crash. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I know he did the event that was EMW and AAA. It's like the co-promoted event.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think he should keep doing those. I think he should get out there more. And
Assuming those continue.
I think they will. Well, I don't look.
Well, EMW might be needing a new partner, but who knows?
Okay. One more swerve, and then we'll get back to your show. I understand
Sidebar, Your Honor.
I understand what you're saying with AAA. I also feel like the market will bear what the market bears, and knowing that CMLL in Mexico is king, they partner with other smaller promotions to do events in like TJ, right? The Luca Libre. Our boy Tito has worked for them. Tito and Che have both worked for them a couple times. I feel like one of these smaller promotions is going to now have an opportunity with AAA, being watered down, WWEized, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be the same. So this is like, in good or bad, guys like El Patron is no longer in the WWE. Guys like AAA. Marty Scurll will not be in AAA anymore going forward, I would assume, because that's WWE ownership.
That guy tried to follow Epic Pro on Instagram, and I instantly blocked his ass. Fuck you, Marty Scurll.
I'm not a big fan either, but I will say this. It just means that now there's going to be another place for people. Another place will pop up, whether it's the Crash, whether it's Luca Libre, whether it's EMW.
Maybe IWRG grows.
Yeah. And there's going to be something. The void won't last for too long because AAA is going to become essentially a WWE-ized product, which in some cases isn't going to be horrible for some people, but in other places, in other instances, it will.
There will be a lot of local talents who will be losing bookings from those shows because eventually, like the way it is in Mexico is different from the way it is in the United States. The major promotions work with local promotions out there in Mexico. But, Epic Pro, June 28th. I had to segue back.
Yeah. All right. So let's go. I did want to talk about that because you and I talked about that offline. All right. So Adrian Quest Slice Boogie, banger after banger. We got the 6-man tag. Doomfly gets so over everywhere, but especially in Cudahy, and teaming with Zokre, who also is extremely over. And they're taking on what I think is maybe the best pairing to come out of Epic Pro, is putting the Krusty Crew, Dom Kubrick and Lucas Riley with Shane Haste. I don't know why it works so good, but it works so good. Yeah. It's so over. It's fun.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
The feedback I got from that was like, holy shit. Like, for some reason, I felt like it was going to work when I first booked them at the last show as a team. And, the whole thing came together like almost last minute, like a month out, but it ended up working so well. And I think all those guys just had a natural chemistry because they all have like the same mindset and the same approach to wrestling and very similar personalities. So it worked. And with Zokre and Doomfly, it's like Zokre has trained with Doomfly at Santino Bros for years. And this is basically like Team Santino Bros versus Team Santino Bros and Team DK. So it's going to be a fun match. I also really want to see what kind of spots Shane Haste can do with Eli Everfly, because I think, those two will be able to do some weird and crazy shit together. And, Shane's so athletic and so strong, and he can work so well. And Eli is just so creative and willing to go the extra mile. So if you're going to be watching anything in that match, I would say watch the interactions between those two, because they're probably going to end up doing some wild shit.
Shane Haste, I've been following that dude for a long time. I used to watch him in Australia with EPW, which was associated with the NWA back in the day. And he wasn't the Shane Haste you see today. He was more like someone that would have been in the Krusty Crew. Like, no disrespect to Riley and no disrespect to Kubrick, but he didn't have the WWE body then. He was very lean and very, wiry, but he was a hell of an athlete even back then. And he took a lot more risks because he had to take more risks.
He was like a greyhound.
Yeah,
back then.
he was a great. That's a great analogy. He was a
Yeah.
greyhound.
Very lean, very lanky and speedy, and now he's sort of like more like a Doberman, still like he's still got the lean body type and all that, but he's not like super skinny. He's got a little bit of bulk to him and all that, but yeah, he's very talented, and it's just going to be great to have a guy with like his experience and Zokra's experience in that match, and then the talent of Krusty Crew and Doomfly in one match. Look, I'm really glad I smoked all that weed I got from Real Kind Meds, my sponsor, my other sponsor. Shout out Keith, Real Kind Meds 421 on Twitter or X, whatever. Real_kind 420 on Instagram. If you guys need to talk to somebody about cannabis, hit them up, and
Shane Hayes is my favorite wrestler
Yes.
in SoCal right now, and that's saying a lot because I'm also a big fan of Scorpio Sky, big fan of Bad Dude Tito, but Shane Hayes, I feel like that's another guy that should be under contract. But let's go to the next match: Alpha Zoe versus Jordan Cruz. The first time I saw Alpha Zoe was in Irvine at one of those West Coast pro wrestling events that was partnered with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I actually saw him again in San Francisco. I think he took on, who did he take on? Why am I blanking? The guy that just, the tag team, the WWE tag team that used to be in TNA, Alex Shelley. There we go.
Alex Shelley.
And
the WWE tag team that used to be in TNA. That's how you refer to Alex Shelley. Come on, man.
I had to get there, man. I had nothing to go
off. To me, he's a legend. But anyways, I'm breaking your balls, dude.
Don't get me wrong. Alex Shelley's awesome.
Yeah.
I've always liked Alex Shelley, but when I can't think of his name, I'm trying to just trace my steps. I saw Alex Shelley, and I saw Motor City Machine Guns back in San Diego during the SmackDown taping that happened earlier this year. Before that, I saw him in San Francisco wrestling against Alpha Zoe. And at the time, everyone was thinking that he was signed. It was a signed, sealed, delivered deal. They hadn't debuted yet, obviously. And he and Alpha Zoe put on one hell of a match. I thought highly of Alpha Zoe the first time I saw him. Then the second time I saw him, I thought, wow, this guy's really good. Then I saw him again on your show, and it's like, this guy is way solid. And I think he is also very underrated when it comes to the West Coast wrestling scene. Obviously, he's more of a NorCal guy, but he's out here on your events, and I think this match is going to be quite interesting. How did you get to this one?
Again, I was stoned, but it was also like the way I book my shows is weird. It's like I'll try and get like a certain amount of time, like 20, 22, 24 wrestlers, right? Because I never want to have uneven match number of wrestlers and do a 3-way or some shit like that, or a scramble. But I was putting together these matches, and it's like, okay, I got the tag teams, I got these guys. I had this match with these guys over here, championship, blah blah blah, and then it's like, okay, then there's a cluster of like 8 or so wrestlers left over to book for 4 matches, and I was just looking at the names on the cards, like, okay, Slice and Alpha already wrestled, and Jordan and Slice had a match in fucking in Santino Bros. So it was just like trying to see what matches haven't been done here locally recently and what matches I think would be great. No, I'm not. Don't listen. This is all a facade. I am not the most chill booker of all time. But anyway, yeah, it's like it all just came together by accident. It was just all stupid, and like on my part, it was just like, I got Jordan. Maybe no, that wouldn't work. I'll just put him with Zoe. It's just like whatever. But it's like it's not like I don't have a long-term plan or anything like that. It's just like it's one of those things where it's like it just came together and made sense, and I was like, all right, fucking, I'm gonna pull the trigger and try this, and it ends up working. I mean, I book a lot of really great talent that can all work with each other. It's just like one of those like plug and play type things where it's like I can find a talent and find another talent that will work with them just very easily. So
the first time I saw Jordan Cruz, I thought it was Davey Richards. I was like, holy crap, Davey Richards is here.
He did have like a very similar aesthetic to him. Oh, I've got to turn on a light. I'm going to go off camera for 1 second, but I can hear you still.
All right. Well, then I'm going to just talk because that match is there. And then, of course, you've got Kid Bandit making her return. She was at the last event, had a hell of a match with Johnny.
Let's talk
Robbie.
about this match last because there's a story.
All right, let's get to Wicked.
It's just Wicked now.
Okay, is
Just
a very
Wicked.
interesting. Just Wicked. All right, a very interesting guy. I've been watching him. The first time I saw him is one of Kevin Kleinrock's Master Republic shows in Cathedral City, and I know he reps Riverside really, really hard. He's taken on Ray Rosas, who the last time was at competing for Epic Pro, was wrestling for the championship. Uh-oh.
Oh, there's a curfew in the city of Los Angeles.
That doesn't affect me. My phone didn't go off.
Well, it affects me.
Yeah, stay home.
I don't know if I can get food now. Fuck.
Uber Eats, bro.
They're under curfew now too.
No, because they're employed or whatever.
I'll worry about it later.
Ray Rosa.
Yeah, Ray Rosa's Wicked.
Former champion or former challenger for the world title, was in that main event. Wicked, like I said, the first time I saw him, I instantly thought of SoCal Crazy, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. And then the more I watched him, the more he started growing on me. It's funny because I live in the IE and I've been in Riverside, and he used to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And like when you see him without a mask, he looks the same as he does with the mask. Like his clothes look the same.
I mean, his mask basically just covered his nose and his mouth, and you could still see his eyes and the top of his head. So,
he's wearing the same clothes as he wrestles in, man. Like, I
respect it because it's like it's a vibe. So he's being himself, so that's cool with me.
No, there's no hate here, but I'm like, a luchador, a masked wrestler, usually is trying to hide their identity. But if you're at the, you're down there at the Riverside Mall or whatever, and he's walking around, you're like, I know exactly who you are, man. I know exactly.
I mean, even if he wore like a full mask, but he still had his hair out, you'd probably still be able to tell. But yeah, that's going to be a really good match. Wicked is very talented. I'm sure anyone who's seen him knows how good he is. Like, he's very athletic. He was a guy I had my eye on for a while. I didn't want to immediately bring him in because I wanted to see his growth. And I think like at the last show was the right time to book him because like he's basically like one of the most athletic and most talented in-ring performers we have in SoCal. And he's like one of these guys who's doing spectacular athletic things. You're not really seeing that much anymore in SoCal because it's like I know you're it probably like is more like what you enjoy watching when it comes to like wrestling. Like there's too many characters and shit now in SoCal wrestling, too many people being goofy and not enough people like looking at it as like an art form rather than an entertainment form. And to me, Wicked is one of those guys who looks at it as like an art form, but can still be entertaining. And he can just pull on cool shit. And it's like, I really wish we had more wrestlers who were trying to be like, I don't know if innovative or cutting edge is the right way to put it, but he's definitely one of those guys who like in the next few years, and if he like comes up with like original spots that like no one else is doing, he's gonna be the next guy out of SoCal. But
for the record, my favorite style of wrestling goes back to like 1996, 1997 WCW Cruiserweight division that had like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and Psychosis and Ray and Jericho. So to me, that's the pinnacle of pro wrestling, which is I get isn't everyone's cup of tea, but like to me that was it.
I love that era of junior heavyweight wrestling, the 90s and the 2000s. Like I feel like we're the peak for in-ring professional wrestling. I mean, everyone can say what they want about modern wrestling, old school wrestling, and all that from beyond the 80s and shit. But to me, it's like, I don't think there's anything that could ever match the excitement of what's happening in a match like that, where you're just seeing athletically gifted people just doing the craziest shit imaginable that you don't see every day, as opposed to like someone trying to be a character and standing in the ring, cutting a boring monologue for like 10 minutes. And then like they're putting on wrestles for like 5 minutes in a match before you get a cheap finish that it's for storylines and heat, but because it's like you get that on TV every week. If you're paying money to see action live, you're not going to want to see that. You want to see something cool. And I think just Wicked. He's one of those guys who has that, mentality. He's like, oh, I got to go out there, got to put on a banger, I got to put on a classic, and give the fans something exciting. And I think with Ray Rosas, it's going to be perfect because Ray is like, he's so good. Like, he can work any fucking style. And sometimes I feel like he gets a little lazy because he can be entertaining. Like, he can be such an entertainer, right? And even with a guy like me who isn't like fond of that style of wrestling, like I can be entertained by Ray when he's just being a fucking entertainer. But when it comes to like workhorse Ray, like, he's always going to be bringing it. And he's going to be like coming up with cool ideas for the guys he's working with to do in the match, not just for himself. He's a good base, and he's going to be able to like, I think he's going to pull out, the match of his career out of Wicked. Not Ray's match of his career, although it could be, but I think Wicked is going to have his best match ever with Ray. So
I agree with you. I think Ray is a very selfless performer, and I've been using this term a lot today. He's like the Swiss Army knife of SoCal, because you could literally put him in any position, in any promotion, and he will get over, and he'll be entertaining, and people will be feeling like they got their money's worth when they see Ray.
I was at Kitsune on Sunday, and he showed up in a battle royal unannounced, and he was just such a funny, dickhead, chauvinistic heel. Like, he was a misogynist, and he was just like. It was just funny, and if you were a longtime SoCal fan, there was some lore involved in that match because it was in the Southgate American Legion, and people were had known the history of like him, and Rage was in that match, and Hudson Envy and Sage Sin Supreme, who's calling herself like Icky Hate or some stupid shit now. I don't know.
I like Sage. Sage was good.
But yeah, Ray versus Wicked is going to be sick. And, like when I think about this card, it's like, it's going to be so hard to figure out which match should go where. I already know the main and co-main, but everything else, and aside from the opener, is just so like hard to figure out. Cause it's like, this match could be the second match of the night. It could be the featured match of the night going 6. It could be the post-match intermission match. It could be the pre-intermission match. It's just, every match is like that on this show. So
Cage Match put it as your as the third to last match.
It must have been based on announcements. So
yeah, no, I look, Cage Match is very useful, but it's not 100% reliable. I always tell people that. The next match that they list, Cage Match does, is the tag team match between Los Suavecitos, Danny Rose, and Ricky G versus the Wolf Zaddy. Say that again.
Ricky G
versus the Wolf Zaddies, Che Cabrera, and it says Raunchy Rico. God damn, Cage Match, get your shit together.
Wow.
Bad Dude Tito, obviously, and Che Cabrera. That is the Wolf Zaddies. No disrespect to anybody else,
Devin.
especially Raunchy Rico.
Is that how it's pronounced, Devin?
Yeah, Devin.
All right, thank you, Devin.
Devin is from upstate New York, so boom, East Coast.
Oh yeah, check us out on True TV Plus, bro.
Yeah, and honestly, Devin, I know is a big AEW fan, and I'm gonna say,
he'll love us then.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is right up your alley. Yeah. The show will be fire for you. The Wolf Zaddies, obviously, Che Cabrera, almost said read it again, Raunchy Rico,
Bad Dude
Cabrera,
Tito,
and Bad Dude Tito, two of the best tag team, or two of the best. Fuck it. One of the best tag teams in Southern California, bar none. Yes. They are self-gloss the Mexican Steiner brothers. I love these guys. I've watched them in Mexico. I've watched them in the U.S. I've seen the maturation process for both of them. Obviously, Tito's had a great singles run, but as a tag team, they're just as good. I'm very excited about this one. Los Suavecitos have been very entertaining from when I've seen them, mostly with West Coast Pro. You should have heard how much heat they had when they were in San Francisco repping the Dodgers. Those Giant fans hated them.
Yeah, I've seen some of those shows that they were doing and shit, and like like the heat they were getting was just insane. And like, you know, those guys are so fucking cool. Like I really enjoy their work, and I really like having them around. You know, because last show was their first show, and you know, I tried to get them before, but like with those guys, it's like they really want to be part of Epic Pro. They believe in it, and they gave it their all last show, and they want to come back. So I'm really happy to have them. I think them, Quest, and Johnny as a unit, like there's so much potential there. Like hopefully we can do more with them in Epic Pro, and you know, I know West Coast Pro has their thing going on with them, but I feel like we could also do something with them and maybe a little different down the line. And I could see them being a huge babyface faction out here someday. So yeah,
I agree with you on that, actually. Like, especially in SoCal, especially in LA,
yeah,
I feel like that is the motif. And you know, with not for nothing, I think West Coast Pro Wrestling is doing a great job of promoting wrestling up and down the West Coast. And you know, not for nothing, I think at some point it would be interesting to see, you know, some of those West Coast Pro guys show up in what you're doing and vice versa.
I mean,
You've already used a
we've
couple
already
already.
had all their guys already. We've had Titus, we've had
You did have
Starboy, we
Titus.
had Vinny, we have Alpha Zoe, we got the Wolf Saddies, and then we got John. We've had Johnny, so we've had Zara. So it's not like there isn't a crossover. Hold on, my dog wants to go under his blanket. But it's not like there hasn't been like talents from there coming to here before. So it's like, you know, it's just they're all California talents. We're all California promotions. So to me, it's not like
I
whatever, you know.
Yeah,
But this match is gonna be sick. I think with Tito and Che, they're like great heavyweights who can work with young smaller guys, excuse me.
yeah.
They can work with faster paced talents and base for them really well, do cool shit and all that. So this match is gonna be fun because I'm a really big fan of the high flyers versus heavyweight base type matches and shit. And I think this is gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna have to tell them, hey guys, if you guys would just want to do a tornado tag match and just go wild, go ahead. I
I don't
won't be pissed, but
I don't hate that idea.
I really am interested in seeing how that match plays out. I think they're all going to kill it. It's just a matter of what are they going to do to surprise me is what I'm interested in. So yeah,
I'm sure they'll figure it out. Now
no, they will.
the Epic Pro title, I mean, it's such a pretty belt. We used it for tonight's graphic. I'll send you over my photos tomorrow.
I need it.
I've got nothing but beautiful things to say about that title. It's gorgeous. You did a great job. Whoever made it for you did a great job.
Shout out to Auntie Heidi who designed the belt. I came up with the concept. I gave her like directions and inspirations and all that to use for the belt, and she just basically took the concept, created the design, ran with it. Some guy in England, I don't know who he was. Like he was hired through Hassan from Pandemonium to do like I don't know vector art or whatever for it. Like he tried to take credit for it. It was like, look, bro, you were just a tracer, you know.
Yeah.
But he did. I guess he did something. But like I was kind of offended by the fact that he tried to take credit from the artist, which was Auntie Heidi, who you know she's like as a professional wrestler, as an in-ring performer, I don't think she's the best, but she's an amazing artist, and I think she is an example for everyone in wrestling getting into it. Is like if being an in-ring performer isn't, you know, if it doesn't work out for you, there's always a plan B. Do you have a fucking skill that no one else has? Heidi has a fucking skill in being able to draw cool shit. So that's going to open doors for her down the line. So yeah. But this match, Scorpio Sky versus Royce, it's like, damn.
Yeah, damn is right, man. And God damn it for not booking it sooner, because Royce is one of these guys, and if Devin Dowling's still in the chat, I know he's a big Royce Isaac guy. Royce is, it's hard to say it because he's been a tag team champion for New Japan Strong. He was a tag team champion in the NWA. I think he held all the titles in the United Wrestling Network at some point. And him, oh, I'm
Jorel
blanking.
Nelson.
Thank you. I keep blanking on names tonight. Jarrell, as either the 1% or the West Coast Wrecking Crew, they've done pretty awesome things everywhere they've gone. You chose to use Royce as a singles, which, again, utility player. He could be anywhere on the card, but I think he deserves to be on the top of the card. And you're putting
Dude
him
looks
again.
like a fucking human action figure. Like,
Yeah,
how the fuck can you not want to push a guy who looks like that? Like, bro, I don't care if he like if someone has to take steroids to look like that, go for it. Take more, bro. But that dude is a fucking he does not look like a average human being. I'm saying that in a nice way. Royce, please don't take that the wrong way, but it's like he looks like the kind of guy who was created artificially in a lab, like Ivan Drago or some shit. You know?
We always talk about as fans of the NWA, we talk about people who'd want on the roster, and we say, like, do they pass the poster test, right? Like, if you put him on a poster, not a toaster. If you put him on a poster, does he look like he fits in? And the answer with Royce is with unequivocally yes.
Yeah,
yes, he looks like he fits in.
Looks like a fucking video game character, bro. Like, holy shit. Like, bro, like I'll meet up with Royce and we'll like film promos and shit. And like when he's just in a t-shirt, he's still like fucking like, ugh, like, oh my god, bro.
When you
like,
get a chance and you're bored, Google Mr. Electricity Steve Regal from the 80s, the AWA. And I swear to God, the AWA Remco action figure looks just like Royce Isaac.
Mr.
Electricity Steve Regal. He was the real Steve Regal.
Oh, not William Regal.
No, Steve Regal.
No, I mean like not the same person who's like
No. This is a guy from the 80s. William Regal took his name from this guy.
Okay, Steve Regal.
Mr. Electricity.
Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal. Okay, go on.
Anyways, him and Scorpio Sky, again, when I talk about favorites in SoCal, Scorpio Sky is him and Shane Haste are probably my 1A, 1B. I like both of these guys a lot. But Royce Isaac is a professional. Like you said, he looks like he belongs as an action figure. He's a very complete performer. And I would say the same thing about Scorpio Sky. And this one, I think, is a no-brainer. This is one of the matches that makes so much sense for Epic Pro. This, I think, is going to be a match of the year candidate. I don't even know if SoCal and Central are still doing the year-end awards, but this,
Steve
to me,
has been too busy with his globe trotting and making money off a travel website to do anything with SoCal.
I offered to buy it off of him, and he kind of just wasn't interested. Yeah, well, yeah, it's for a second time.
I mean, I'm sure he's making money off it. It's just that there needs to be somebody to write articles on there again. Maybe if Epic Pro closes after August, you might see someone pop up back there.
Look, I wish I had the time, but I'm trying.
Anyway, Sky versus Royce, we're sidetracking way too much. But yeah, like that was a match. Like, part of me feels like I am hot-shotting it because this is Sky's second match in the promotion. But at the same time, it's like I have this opportunity to book this cool main event. Why wouldn't I take it? And it's like for a first ever title defense, like who better than Scorpio Sky? Like, who is the most well-known guy on my card? You know, I mean, this isn't to shit on anyone else. I'm sure everyone on the card will agree with. Like, Sky is our star right now. He's our top dude, and you know, I haven't booked for August as well, and I really hope I can keep working with him if Epic Pro can continue. Because he's been easy to work with. He's been chill. And on top of that, I've known him for a long time. I've known him since I was like 15. So that's like 22 years now. So to have that familiarity with him, to know him, to trust him, you know, it's a great thing. I'm so happy that I'm able to book Sky on my shows. And like with him and Royce, it's like they're professionals. They're fucking great, you know. And like with Sky's knowledge and Roy's skill set, it's like, damn, this is gonna be a good match. I'm really looking forward to it. I just think like I wish I could book it a million times, you know.
I was just about to say this is the kind of match that, if this was back in the territory days, they'd say like this would feed families, because I feel like, again, the skill set is there, the talent there, and Royce still very young in his career. Like, I mean, he's been at it for some time, but obviously Scorpio Sky's been at it a little bit longer. And when you look at just you look at Scorpio Sky as a complete performer. Back to 2003, winning the Rev Pro Junior Heavyweight Championship, winning the tag titles in AWS or in PWG, or being the guy in AWS, or being the guy in EWF, or being the guy for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, or being the guy, like going to Ring of Honor, 6-man champion with Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, winning the AEW tag team titles, winning the TNT champions twice. I mean, if there's ever a fumble when it comes to pro wrestling, I think right now AEW's fumbled Scorpio Sky. I feel like there's so much quality and value there. It's insane to me that they're not using him on television, and their loss is certainly your gain. And SoCal's gain, to be quite honest, because he's not just working with you, but he's
we don't have to talk about the other promotions. He's not appearing anywhere. He's appearing in Epic Pro, the only place you can see him. So if you want to see Scorpio Sky at SoCal, Epic Pro is the only place to see him.
Well, and I also feel like in some indirect way, like there is a lineal connection between what you're doing in Epic Pro, even going back to like the days of like Rev Pro. I feel like there's like you guys aren't exactly connected in a straight line, but obviously spiritually there is a connection between what Rev Pro started back in their late 90s, early 2000s to what you're doing today. And I feel like this is a match that absolutely you are doing Super Dragon proud right now by putting one of the guys in the area with probably the most historic history in SoCal at the moment, with one of the guys who really is one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now, and you're putting him in the ring. I feel like that would have made Super Dragon proud. I feel like that would have made Rev Pro fans proud. So again, kind of going back full circle, you're really doing a damn good job, and you should take credit for that. And I know you don't take compliments well, but I'm proud of you, Andy.
I'm just a humble man.
Just a humble man with humble desires. Let's talk about Maya World coming.
We're skipping over Chris Nasty versus Darwin Finch. It's not
Bro, that wasn't on the list, and I missed it. See, thanks a lot, Cage Match. You made me look like an asshole.
Oh, well. Anyway, that's going to be a good match, too. But, yeah, Maya World and Kid Bandit.
Real quick, one last thing about Chris Nasty. Yes. One first thing about Chris Nasty. I feel like that dude is so underrated, and I use that phrase a lot, but I think everyone was sleeping on him in 22. They're sleeping on him in 23. 24 came and went, and I don't think that guy's getting his flowers, and I'm hoping that it breaks through this year, because that dude is far too talented for people to be sleeping on him.
He needs to get out of SoCal. He's one of these dudes who needs to get in touch with a bigger promotion outside of SoCal that's well known and just start getting his foot in. And I think more promotions should really like book him better, not just him, but other wrestlers that everyone says, oh, this guy's got potential. Like, there's too many fucking clown bookings, of these fucking great talents. And it's like you have these fucking dorks like Jarrell Diaz, Enoch the Enlightened, trying to fucking get a fucking rub off these guys and trying to get themselves over by managing them and getting involved and stealing their heat. Or you have these guys working fucking mediocre ass wrestlers like Kodo Hiro and shit. It's like they deserve better. And it's like at this point, it's like, fuck it. You guys, like Jordan's starting to get that. Jordan Cruz is starting to get that where he's breaking out with Prestige. Adrian Quest is getting that as well. I really think Chris Nasty is another one of those guys who needs that. These guys just need more bookings outside of LA, unless it's like conflicting with my show. But I really think Chris Nasty is one of those guys who deserves to be on a bigger platform. And he should be, like when GCW is coming to LA, he's one of those fucking guys that they should be booking. And they shouldn't just be using him or any other local guys we got as expendables. But that's a different rant for a different time, man.
So let's talk real quick about Kid Bandit. Kid Bandit, who will be taking on Maya World. And you said you had a story you wanted to tell about that real quick. In the chat, Devin Dowling says Kid Bandit was all over Twitter a few years ago. I think you would find that Kid Bandit is still all over X today. She's been really present about her transition. She's been a voice for people going through those kind of same things, and being a voice for kind of the people who've been silent. So I'm proud of what Kid Bandit's doing. I'm proud of her finding herself and being herself, finding her voice. And obviously pro wrestling's her passion. And she just got back from Japan not too long ago doing some stuff out there.
Wrestled with Wrestle One and Masato Tanaka and all that.
Yeah.
Like Bandit, I'm going to send you a photo. Maybe you'll be able to put it on here.
Send it to Messenger.
Yeah.
All right,
from our I'll let you know when it's sent.
Okay.
It was from our very first show, and okay, it's just sent. Very first show, Kid Bandit was in the main event versus Ray Royce, and Bandit showed up earlier than most wrestlers and helped with ring crew. And I told Bandit, you don't need to do that. Bandit was like, nah, I insist. I want to do it. I want to help, blah, blah, blah. And Bandit's willingness to help Epic Pro still continues to this day. This match with Maya World is going to be really good. I'm going to flat out say that. It's going to be really good. I'm going to have it my co-main event. I really believe Maya is another talent who's going to be, another one of these breakout stars, Yeah, there's Kid Bandit helping with the ring crew at our first show. Very first show. In the main event later that night with Ray Rosas, ends up taking a bunch of crazy bumps, but still wanted to help with ring crew, even though Bandit was told you don't have to do that. That's the kind of character Bandit has outside the ring. And so with Maya World, a situation arose. So she's booked on a show in Houston, Texas, promoted by Spark Joshi. But apparently they're teaming up with a bunch of other promotions from Texas now, all that. So Maya let me know about this. And then, I said, okay, blah, 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 without getting too deep into the details and all that. It was a situation where I would have needed help, financially from, whoever was running that show. So I get in touch. I have people get in touch with the person who was running Spark, Joshi. I believe her name is Chibi or something like that. I don't know. They talked to her, and then she said, I had some people who were in Texas booking the Texas talents get in touch with me. And this dude named Waldo hit me up, right? I had no idea who the fuck Waldo is, right? So he messages me and he gives me this bullshit response that I was not, cool with. And it became this thing where it's like, hey, we have a situation, and I was doing everything I can to make it clear that, hey, if I need help, I need help. But if I can make something happen, I can make something happen, right? And then and I was doing this because I wanted to make sure Maya did not miss a booking. So they end up this dude Waldo ends up fucking telling me this shit about, oh, we're working on a strict budget, and it's like, you really can't help out. And I was like, all right, well, here's what I'm gonna do. Look, I'll let Maya know that if I can get her a flight and back in time to Texas to get her to your show, and it doesn't cost me extra money for my budget, cool, I'll do that. But if there's something where I need to spend more money on this, then it's like I shouldn't be expected to take all of that hit, especially if it's for your show and if she's being flown to somewhere that's like a 4-hour drive away from her home where she's flying out of. Because Dallas and Houston are 4 hours apart. That's basically the equivalent of here to San Jose.
Yeah.
Shit. So I made that clear, and I said, look, if this is a problem, I'm going to tell Maya, I'm going to let her know directly, hey, this is a situation. And if you want to pull out of my show because you want to work that show, I will not have any heat with you, and I will do whatever I can to make sure we have a makeup date for you, And I also said, look, if you choose not to do that show, I would appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. So I made it clear to Maya that it was her choice, but she was trying to make it work for both parties. Then this dude Waldo he ended up pulling her from fucking Spark for a while, or he ended up pulling her from the show, even though I made it clear it was her choice. And then he messaged me this thing like, "Oh, I pulled her off, so you don't have to worry about her." Blah blah blah. And it just felt like such a bitch move, you know. Like I don't know how fucking promoters in Texas do their shit, but you're not gonna fucking hit me up, right? And you're not gonna be like, "Hey, can you make sure this talent who's on your show gets to our show in time? And if it's at your expense, then too bad." You know, and like expect me to fucking roll over and be a bitch about it. Like, no, that's not me. And Jay, you know me. So he pulled her, and I ended up talking to this guy named Biss. I don't know what he does. I know he's from Austin, Texas, but he seemed like he was more level-headed, and he ended up understanding it more. But with this fucking guy, Waldo, he was like, "Hey, let me get your number." And it was like, what? And then he said more, "Yeah, well, we talked about it, blah, 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 but I would like to get your number so we can talk about this more, so we don't have any confusions when you're booking Texas guys." Anyway, thank you, Devin. This fucking dude was coming at me like he was the Tony Soprano of Texas wrestling. He was like, "Oh, if you want to book our talent, talk to me and be in touch so we can make sure we're all on the same page." Like, fuck you, bro.
What was his last name? Von Erich? I mean, what the fuck?
It's like your last name's not Von Erich. Your last name's not Funk. Your last name's not Williams. You know, from the fucking Austin tribe. You know, if you know what I mean, Stone Cold. Blah blah blah. Anyway, it's like who the fuck do you think you are, bro? And not only that, it's like you're trying to fucking talk down to a promoter from California that you have no fucking idea, right? And you're trying to fucking act like you got everyone in Texas on lock. Like, fuck you, bro. Like, and if people think I'm lying, I'll put out the screenshots of the conversations. I'll send them to you, Jay, so you can vouch for me. Maybe not put them all out in public. But it's like, bro, it was fucking bullshit. And Maya World did not deserve that. Maya World did not deserve to have a fucking booking threatened to be pulled from her because of something that, you know, that was ultimately on me and the other promoters. And I also made it clear, like, I didn't inherit this mess because I wanted to. Like, I inherited this mess because I'm trying to save people. And it's like, it's not like I had more money to dip into my funds. I was doing this to save these shows. And I'm dealing with real serious family medical shit. And I got to help people pay their fucking medical bills in my family. And these guys were like, this Waldo dude was being a fucking dickhead, you know? And it's like, it could have caused heat between me and Spark Joshi, at least on my end. I don't know if Chibi knows me from a hole in the wall or whatever, if they could give a fuck about me. I don't know who Chibi is. I just heard the name Chibi. But apparently, yeah, exactly. Maya wasn't contracted like a WWE or AEW wrestler. And when Waldo was telling me these, are like, "Oh, we didn't make an agreement when we booked her to do anything with travel expenses." It's like, well, I didn't know when I booked her that I had to fucking get her to a show in Houston that I had no fucking involvement in and no financial interest in, you know? It's like, it was bullshit to me. And it's like, listen, if you're a wrestler in Texas, don't fucking deal with this Waldo guy and tell him straight up, look, if I'm booked outside of the state, you don't get to fucking speak for me. Like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? You know, if anyone's going to be a Tony Soprano around here, it's going to be me in SoCal, not you in Texas, Waldo. So suck my fucking left nut.
So, and then talking about Texas just for a second, like, you know, you got Booker T out there, Reality of Wrestling. I mean,
him.
You don't have to like him, but obviously that dude could probably command a little bit more respect from a smaller promotion. I mean, look, if you and Booker T were trying to split deal with my world, I'm sure Booker T would have been a little bit more fruitful on that. On the flip side, you know, there's promotions all over Texas. It's not a small state. Obviously, it's like they've got a huge wrestling.
They got good talent out there too.
Yeah, they do.
This Waldo guy could have fucked it up for everyone. Like, because I'm getting I'm telling promoters out here, hey, if you book a Texas talent and some dude named Waldo hits you up and tells you this and that, don't fucking listen to him. And if he tries to fucking pull some shit, just say, you know what? No, we're not gonna fucking take that shit. But sorry, go ahead. Fuck Waldo.
No, and I'm just what I'm getting to is like there are promotions in Texas where that would I could hear and that would make sense because they do have the upper hand. But that this isn't that and
in
anyway.
independent wrestling, it shouldn't be a thing. Look, no fucking promoter or anyone who's a booker should be like, oh yeah, talk to me to make sure everything is, nothing gets mixed up. Unless like there's an agreement with promoters saying, hey, are you running this day? Are you running that day? And they're all friendly with each other. Yeah, that's one thing. Like I have that with Rival Pro. I have that with several other promotions, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if you're a Texas promoter and you see one of your talents is booked in California, like you should not go make demands from that California promoter if the California promoter is trying to do something or needs to do something to benefit you. It's like I've talked to other promoters too, and they all told me I was in the right on this, and that if anything, they should have fucking bought a fucking flight for her from LA to Houston. Because here's something. She's not going to be in Dallas like the day before my show. I'm not going to say where she's going to be because I don't want to ruin any surprises, but like I bought a plane ticket for her from there to my show, and I know it's not her home state, but still I had that responsibility of getting her here. And these fucking guys didn't want to fucking, pitch in at least $100 or $150, which shouldn't have been a big fucking deal if you're an adult. Like you have partners, y'all couldn't chip in like $25-$50, or you're trying to send this Waldo guy to fucking, strong arm me. Like, bro, it's like it obviously backfired for them because they didn't know who the fuck I was. They didn't know who the fuck they were dealing with. They were fucking dealing with the fucking biggest asshole in SoCal, bro. And it's like, look, ultimately, the reason why I brought up Kid Bandit is because when this whole situation was going down, Bandit was doing everything to make sure, it was taken care of for Maya. Bandit was looking out for Maya. Bandit fucking even offered her pay to help cover Maya's flight. This fucking guy in Waldo, this fucking guy in Texas named Waldo, it's like, oh, we can't cover it, but my workers are fucking willing to sacrifice their shit. My guy, my editor, my graphics guy, Nick Hart of Hart Editing, offering to pay for fucking Maya's flight. Like I'm having my people offering to pay for this shit, and these guys are saying, "Whoa, we got a strict budget." You motherfuckers live in Texas where the rent is cheap. You're telling me you can't come up with $150 just to put in? Get the fuck out of here, bro. But ultimately, Maya's flight has been purchased. I'm upset at that Waldo guy. To Biss and Chibi, no heat on you guys, but Chibi, if you're going to be working in Texas with Spark, get someone who isn't fucking Waldo to handle your talent coordinators down there because he's a fucking dickhead. What a fucking jackass. And it's like, nah, bro, if he fucking tried to talk to me like that to my face, I would have slapped the shit out of him. I don't fucking play that. I don't fucking play. To that guy, Devin, you see, I'm not that chill of a person after all. So you turn on my switch and I'm like, where the fuck is Waldo anyways? Somewhere in fucking San Antonio or some shit.
With the red hat and the striped shirt.
I almost did a Charles Barkley joke about he over there in San Antonio with them big old women. Then he's gonna go down to Galveston later to get that dirty water. Which, by the way, Galveston, I went there when I was a kid. And it's such a fucking disgusting place. Houston sucks. Texas sucks. But anyway, I'm glad I can get Maya World on this show. She's extremely talented. And look, I said this in a privately to her. She was a fucking pro. She handled it, the best she could. She tried to save everyone, even though she didn't need to. If you're a promoter, book Maya World. She is fucking good as an in-ring performer. I can't wait to see her wrestle for me live for the first time ever against Kid Bandit. They're both excited about this match. They both really wanted this match. And, the fact that Bandit is willing to sacrifice her pay for this shit should tell you everything you need to know about why you should watch this match. Like I'm glad everything's worked out now. So, we can get to it, and I don't have to fucking put up with some bullshit by Waldo. And I'm going back to that. Like I said, I told him fucking flat out it was Maya's choice. And this is like, it's bullshit to me because it's like what is this? How you guys all do it in Texas? Like you guys create abortion bans so women can't make their choices, and now you're gonna fucking make choices for the wrestling bookings too? Fuck you guys.
Andrew, as always, it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Epic Pro LA, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Epic Pro Wrestling on Blue Sky, Epic Pro Wrestling on TikTok. We have a link tree where you can find everything. Just look up Epic Pro Wrestling. June 28th, Bill Greene Sports Complex. As you see, tickets available at squabbleup.eventbrite.com. We'll have tickets at the door. Tickets are currently, I think, $25 for general admission. We have general admission packet deals. So if you want to come with a group, you can get them for $20 each, save some money. Front row tickets are currently $30 on Eventbrite. We're running out of those. They're going to be $40 at the door if we have any left over. We'll also have $20 kids GA tickets at the door, only at the door because, someone could buy one online and say they're a kid and we wouldn't be able to tell. So we want to make sure, kids are actually getting the discount. And as you see on your screen, July 3rd, City of Cudahy is going to be doing their annual July 3rd Independence Day fireworks show and festival. They're going to have live music. They're going to have a lot of food trucks. It's also going to be a beer garden as well. If you come out to that and, want to drink, you can get some beer. And of course, we're going to be there for a free show at Cudahy Park, located near Cudahy City Hall. It's basically in the same courtyard. You just show up, bring your chairs, show up early. Bell time was originally 7 p.m., but we're probably going to have to change that. I'll keep you guys posted. Stay tuned to the social media accounts for that. But right now for that show, we don't have graphics made yet, but signed right now is Che Cabrera going for the Epic Pro Wrestling Championship against the winner of Scorpio Sky versus Royce Isaacs. Co-main event, number one contenders match. Jordan Cruz versus Bad Dude Tito. I'm announcing that right here, right now. Exclusive for you, Jay. The winner of that match will go on to face the winner of Che Cabrera versus the Epic Pro Wrestling Champion in August, on August 23rd at Better Each Day 3. Tickets available at bettereachday3.eventbrite.com, and they will be at the door. Main event for that match, the number one contender from Independence Day to face the winner, whoever is the Epic Pro Wrestling Champion. So it could be Scorpio Sky, could be Royce Isaacs, it could be Che Cabrera, and it could be, Che Cabrera versus Bad Dude Tito in the main event for August 23rd. It could be, Jordan Cruz versus Scorpio Sky. It could be anything, but yeah. Next PPP, fuck Waldo. Nah, he don't deserve a fucking show title name. He ain't worth a fucking jizz stain on my fucking sheets.
Well, this one probably won't be monetized on YouTube, but as always, Andrew,
I'm sure it probably would have generated 1 cent because no one's gonna watch me. No one cares about me.
That's where you're wrong, my friend. But anyways,
appreciate that.
I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate getting to catch up a little bit about the SoCal wrestling scene, Epic Pro, and baseball stadiums. I hope we can have this conversation again, maybe later in the year, or maybe the first of this year.
Maybe before the anniversary show, because who knows, we'll probably have some stuff to talk about then too.
That would be
we can make this a regular thing before every show. Just preview everything.
I don't want to become Gus though. That's the thing. Like that's your guys' thing. I don't want.
I don't even know if we're coming back.
Oh.
I mean, I love Gus, but he's got a lot going on, man. He's moving houses and shit. He's starting a new career and shit where he's gonna make a little more money at his shoot job and all that. So he's got stuff going on. His podcast is on hold right now, but when we come back, we're gonna be talking. Sorry, my dog wants to go under his blanket because for people who want to see, there's my dog. He loves going under that blanket.
That you just saved the show. Now everyone's tuning in for your dog.
Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, I forgot what Gus has to do his thing before he comes back. But I enjoy these podcasts because I feel like there's more positivity and we actually talk about wrestling. Whereas on that podcast, we talk about nonsense. And speaking of nonsense, I'm going to show you a Mr. California match after we go off the air because holy shit, him versus Charlie Manson, holy shit.
Let's let's send that to me and we'll talk about it another day because I've literally been streaming 5 hours. I'm done, dude. I'm gonna go crash now.
Oh my god, it's 8:30. It's almost 9. Holy shit.
That's
Well,
late
Jay-
for your boy, dude. I'm up at 5 for work. So, anyways, man, let's call it a night. I appreciate you. Epic Pro, June 28th. Get your tickets. If not, it's going to be available on Triller. You want to jump on that because a Triller Plus subscription gives you free access to, well, not free access because you're paying for the subscription, but you get to see Epic Pro.
You get Epic Pro. You get tons of wrestling events, MMA events.
Was that a cough?
Boxing. Yeah, it's a cough. That was a cough. Anyway, but yeah, you get a lot of cool shit. You also get rugby. You get basketball now. You get all sorts of sports on there. So it's not just like a combat sports wrestling app. It's an app for all sorts of alternative sports and all that shit. So if you like rugby, check it out. They got some badass rugby on there.
That's awesome. All right. That's going to do it for us, guys. Until next time, we'll see you at the match. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The